Top on the Cosmic News Network. First contact with Joshua Put.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poe. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. We'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. We'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause the times is the man, the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have arrived.
The man, the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have arrived.
The man, the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to the man,
First Contact Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio. Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome back to First Contact Radio. Glad you could be here. It's the end of the week. We've made it till Friday. Today is the 2nd, excuse me, let's not jump ahead too far. 2nd of October, 2015. We're dealing with a sun sign in Libra and a moon sign, which is currently in Gemini, but will make a transition later today to Cancer. So, what we're looking at is an air sign for our conscious mind. So the conscious mind is the mind that is awake, that we're using when we're thinking right now. The conscious mind. The unconscious mind is that which is underneath. Oftentimes the unconscious mind is quiet. It doesn't normally come out during the course of the day. We access it through things like meditation, our dream state. But the unconscious mind and the conscious mind work together. Our conscious mind is what we're consciously thinking about. Unconscious might be what is under the surface that we don't normally talk about. Maybe we're not even aware it's there. But the more that these two sides are able to communicate, the better off we're able to move through life. So we look at astrology to help us to understand a little bit more of what are the aspects going around us. Because we're in this giant pool of mind energy, mental energy. And in this pool, what we think about will come to exist. We can bring it into reality. In this pool of energy that we're in, there are certain rules and operations in place, and when we understand the subtle ways in which energy moves, it helps us to get in flow with it. This is what astrology is helping to explain to the conscious mind and the unconscious mind and helping us to understand. So the conscious mind currently is an air sign. Air is represented in tarot cards by the swords. Air is, if you take the first letter S from swords, you're left with words. So air has to do with the words we speak. We have fire, water, air. Our three elements, you mix them together to make the earth. Fire is ideas, creativity. Water is emotions. Air are words. So we take an idea, apply emotions to it, and express it as words or actions, and we manifest in our life the things that we want. That's the simple, basic formula. I'm not giving away anything that isn't already out there. I'm just explaining the process. So our conscious mind currently is dealing with justice, Libra, finding a way to balance out all the aspects of ourselves. That's why you have the two scales here. In life, we're trying to balance out what our life is about, our conscious and unconscious. The Lovers is our unconscious right now, Gemini. This also is an air sign. Tells us we need to defer to the higher self. The conscious mind, the male, needs to look to the female, the unconscious mind, and the unconscious mind should be looking at the higher self. If we have this nice, good aspect going, then we're in balance. As we go later today, well, let me show you here on the calendar. Okay, 12:08 a.m., so just after midnight, Mercury and Gemini were in a nice trine. Mercury and Gemini go together. So as the course of the evening for most of us here in North America, we're sleeping through this phase as our mind is dealing with, the subconscious mind is dealing with communication issues. As we went through the night, new perspectives need to be looked at because we have communication is in a square with Neptune, so we need to take a look at how we're communicating. 6:16 a.m. the sun and the moon are in a nice trine. Libra and Gemini working together. communication and balance. And as we move into this early morning, 10:06 a.m., Jupiter is going to get into the mix and want to expand things, expand out the realm of Gemini. And then 10:28 p.m., Chiron is going to jump into the mix. And Chiron is going to jump into the mix, the wounded healer, that gives us an opportunity to heal that part of ourselves that needs to be healed. Gemini, that involves communication, so something in the communication aspect, maybe the way we communicate with ourselves. And then unexpected changes, surprises taking place later this evening as Gemini and Uranus get into a sextile. Over the weekend, there is going to be the change from Gemini to Cancer. That takes place tomorrow, which is a water sign, so lots of emotions, and that's where we're going to be over the course of this weekend and when we return back next week. Okay, so we've got Libra for today, conscious mind, and we have Gemini, also an air sign, both of them dealing with the conscious and unconscious mind, finding balance and finding a way to communicate that balance. Okay? Balance and how to communicate that balance. And we stay in balance and we communicate it by working with the higher self. All right. Now, over at the Jewish calendar, today is 19 Tishri. All week long, it's been the festival of Sukkot, which is also known as the Feast of Tabernacles. Also the week that we recognize, and biblical scholars recognize, that Jesus was born. Yeshua was born not in December, but in September, October, the end of this particular phase we're in during the month of Tishri, from the 15th to the 21st. Daily thought, hugged by a hut. A sukkah is an embrace. You sit inside and God is hugging you, all of you, from head to toe. Whenever you do inside the sukkah, sip a beer, chat with a friend, answer your email, or just sleep soundly, all is transformed into a mitzvah, a secure and timeless connection with the infinite. And then when you leave the sukkah to enter the world, you carry that hug with you. All of life can be an embrace, a hug with the infinite. It's kind of a nice thought that we're being hugged by the infinite throughout our activities. Okay, over on the Mayan Oracle, today is a cosmic day, 13 tone. So we're at the last of the spots on this wave spell. So we've gone the wave spell of the dog, love and loyalty. Today we're going to jump off to the next wave spell. The next wave spell will begin with the next symbol. So since we're ending on a 2 symbol, the next symbol, symbol number 3, will be the next one, and that will be the theme of the next wave spell. So here we're taking the love and loyalty, and we're jumping off with the inspiration gained throughout this entire process. Today is called the White Cosmic Wind, guided by the World Bridger. The phrase for today is, I endure in order to communicate transcending breath. I seal the input of spirit with the cosmic tone of presence. I am guided by the power of death. We have a waning moon, 73% of the way to get to the new moon. Space weather, solar wind currently at 361.5 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is quiet at the moment at a 3. However, we could get to be a bit unsettled into the 4 region over the course of the next 24 hours. We do have a big coronal hole that seems to be turning our way, one up top here. Notification that we may get hit with this between the 6th and the 8th. And then, of course, geomagnetics M-class flare possibilities dropping down from 70 to 65. X-class from 25 to 20. And then we get down into the geomagnetic storms, and we could see that they are seeming to increase, going up from 30 to 35 in the mid-latitudes, high latitudes 40 to 50. Okay, and then, of course, that is that. Now, one last piece here. Up in the sky after dark, look above the northeast horizon, far below Cassiopeia for the bright Capella on the rise. And that is our cosmic weather for today, the energy that we're dealing with. That brings us up to UFO news. That will be up next. Here we go.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right. Bunch of good stories for today. The first story takes us to Houston. Sphere UFO caught on camera over Houston. A witness in Houston, Texas, reported filming unusual lights in the sky that hovered and moved positions for over 2 hours, according to the MUFON Witness Database. On March 30th, the witness went outside around 2:30 a.m. from the zoomed the camera and vanished from the zoom finder twice. The third time he tried to capture, he managed to record a metallic gray sphere in the sky. He said he recorded the morphing activity for a little over 3.5 minutes. At one point, he took the appearance of the moon. The object hovered above the witness for quite some time before it moved away towards the western sky. The witness observed it for about 2 hours. Okay, so this is what was going on up there. What do you think that is? Don't know. Let's go on to the next story here. UFO moves below the space station on live cam. There's a UFO caught by White Horse USA of YouTube that shows a glowing object moving towards the space station far below its orbit. The object could be a UFO, or could be a top secret project that NASA is involved with, like the X-37 remote controlled shuttle that stays in orbit for over a year. It's hard to say with the night view. Its slow movement is a little baffling to me. What are your thoughts on this craft? Okay, so I want you to check that out. Check that out. Another alternative theory, this could be a giant pool. This could be a green screen, and this could be just used to fake us out. Just saying, doesn't have to be, but it could be. All right, here's an object. Now, this could be a lens flare, or it could be something that is real. We need to look with a discerning eye these days because there's all sorts of challenges. Here's an interesting sighting from the Freedom Tower, a glowing object that is equally balanced in shape on both its right and left sides. The ship in the rear, near up part of the building. I'm surprised that someone saw it at all. All right, the eyewitness says, I wish to submit the picture my friend, who wishes to remain anonymous, took when he was having lunch September 2015 in New York City. He looked up, saw a bright green glow at the right of the top of the Freedom Tower. After wiping his eyes and shaking his head, he thought he had seen a glare. He noticed the craft was still there and took a picture. I'd like to see if MUFON can analyze this and find out if it's a craft used for time travel or interdimensional travel. Well, there you go. So, what do you think? Is that real, or is that just some sort of glare? Check it out. See what you think. Similar UFOs over Toronto and Russia. All right, here's a TV report from Terce Milenio about strange sightings that happened earlier this year over Canada and Russia. Okay, moving on from there. One last piece here. This is India ISRO rocket, and we got a couple of UFOs watching it as it's taking off. Here's one. See the second right up here, a little zoomed in. I want to check out the India ISRO rocket launch videos to see if they accidentally caught any UFOs that were observing the launch, and they did. Just a few seconds after the launch, the camera picks up 2 UFOs on the right side of the rocket. Now, the problem is, are these alien drones or military drones with alien TR-3B tech designs? It's hard to say since all countries distrust one another. India says the rocket is carrying only a mini Hubble-style telescope inside, so they can observe the universe better than ever. It's carrying a total of 6 satellites. 4 of them are US-owned, 1 Canadian. Was the US keeping an eye on their investment? Maybe that's all it carried, because if there was nukes on board, these drones would have destroyed the rocket before it got into orbit. Okay, so there you go. And that's our UFO news for today. Short, sweet, to the point, just a couple of sightings. I've got some really good information coming up momentarily. Let's jump away for a few moments, and I'll be back.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth.
All right. All right, we're back. So, where do we go from here? Well, we're going to look at some information to help you to understand a little bit more of what's going on. Connecting the dots. Connecting the dots. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. There is a gentleman out there, Major General Stubblebine. He is credited with the military intelligence, revamping the military intelligence program for the Army. The movie Men Who Talk to Goats is based on what his work was about and the study that they were doing. Anyway, when you go online, you can hear him in an interview talk about the intelligence program. He says very specifically, all information is a dot. You take that dot of information, you put it up on an imaginary board or a real board, however you want to do it. You take that dot of information and you set it up alongside other dots of information. Some of these dots are going to connect, some of them aren't. The objective is to learn to see where the dots connect. That is what the intelligence program is about. Therefore, if the military is using an intelligence program of connecting the dots, it seems like that system would behoove Americans to use the same system to connect the dots to see what's going on. We don't want to rely upon only the intelligence community being able to read those dots, do we? And we don't think that the members of the intelligence community are actually the only ones that have any intelligence, do we? Of course not. So we want to learn to be able to connect the dots too. So we're going to start off with this dot connecting session going all the way back to William Shakespeare. And here is a quote by William Shakespeare: "All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances. One man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages." All right, we've heard this quote before, right? Well, why do I bring that up? Because we are living in one huge play that's continuing to go on and on and on. We get caught up in this because we think it's real, and we act out the way that we are told to act. But we need to pay a bit more attention, because if this is truly a play, if this is all one big act, then are we participating in it, or are we being acted upon? Which way is it going? Okay, so let's move on with our exploration. So we've got that quote. Now, false flag. False flag or black flag describes covert operations designed to deceive in such a way that the operations appear as though they're being carried out by entities, groups, or nations other than those who actually planned and executed them. Operations carried out during peacetime by civilian organizations as well as covert government agencies may, by extension, be called false flag operations if they seek to hide real organization behind an operation. Geraint Hughes used the term to refer to those acts carried out by military or security forces personnel, which are then blamed on terrorists. DeHaven Smith argues that terminology has become looser in recent years due to the increasing complex levels of duplicity and international intrigue between states. Peter Dale Scott argues that false flags are methods used by deep states as a form of deep politics. The name false flag has its origin in naval warfare, where the use of the flag other than the belligerent's true battle flag as a ruse de guerre before engaging the enemy has long been accepted. Such operations are also accepted in certain circumstances in land warfare to deceive enemies in similar way, providing the deception is not perfidious, and all such deceptions are discarded before opening fire upon the enemy. In other words, it's a tactic used, a false flag is a tactic used to deceive your enemy. In other words, you pretend that you are on their side first. The pirate ship goes into the sea and it's moving up and it raises the flag of the English army. So the English army thinks they are safe. They see the ship approaching. Ah, it's a ship with more Englishmen. And then the pirate ship gets up there and pulls down that flag and hoists up the pirate flag. And the Englishmen, who now suddenly realize that the ship is not Englishmen but pirates, scurry to try to prevent the attack, but it's too late. This is a false flag. It is going in under false premises and then blaming somebody else. These false flags, the reason I bring this up is they have been occurring for a long, long time. As a matter of fact, every war that we have we've gotten into because of a false flag, because some country wanted to get into a war, and so an event was created in order to drag you in, a false event. Many times, over and over and over again, Americans or people around the world think about these false flags and get caught up in them very, very easily. So we need to be aware that these are going on so we don't get caught up, okay? But just knowing that they exist is very important. Now, next, the NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act, which was signed by President Obama, it legalizes the use of propaganda in the U.S. public. The newest version, and this goes back a couple of years, the newest version of the National Defense Authorization Act includes an amendment that would legalize the use of propaganda on the American public, reports Michael Hastings of BuzzFeed. The amendment proposed by Mark Thornberry, Republican from Texas, and Adam Smith, Democrat from Washington, and passed in the House last Friday afternoon, would efficiently nullify the Smith-Mundt Act of 1948, which explicitly forbids information and psychological operations aimed at influencing U.S. public opinion. Thornberry said that the current law ties the hands of American diplomatic officials, military, and others by inhibiting our ability to effectively communicate in a credible way. The vote came 2 days after a federal judge ruled that an indefinite detention provision was unconstitutional. Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, who released a highly critical report regarding the distortion of truth by senior military officials in Iraq and Afghanistan, dedicated a section of his report to information operations and states that after Desert Storm, the military wanted to transform IO into a core military competency on par with air, ground, maritime, and special operations. Okay? So, there's more to the article. You get the point. I've talked about this before. So we have false flags that have been going on for a long time. We have the NDAA, which authorizes the use of propaganda. So basically what that means is that your media can lie to you, and it's been made legal for them to lie to you. So when you turn on the news and you hear them tell a story, they may be telling you a story of a false flag event, but they're telling it as it's a real event for you not to know the difference. And oftentimes, if you question, that's when people get in trouble, because you're not supposed to question these things. Now, not only do we have false flag events, but we also have drills. Okay? Military does drills. People who are involved with taking care of large groups of the public do drills. Why? Because you have to get better at what you're doing. A sports team goes out and practices. Military goes and they do drills. They practice. But a lot of times the things that they practice are events that actually take place. For example, in London, when they had the 7/7 bombings, on that particular day, there was an exercise taking place in the exact location where the bombs went off. During the course of this drill, the bombs went off, and you can hear in the interviews the officers and personnel involved saying it was a very confusing situation because it suddenly went from an exercise to a real-world live situation, and they didn't know what was real and what wasn't. This happens all the time. I've mentioned to you a list of 33 times that we have been fooled, because 33 times there has been a false flag pulled upon the American people, and 33 times Americans have fallen for it, hook, line, and sinker. No wonder the rest of the world thinks that we are very inept at gathering information, because we get fooled all the time. America's going down in all different areas. And what is one thing that's going up as America's going down? Our level of intelligence. People are getting stupider. Don't believe me? Talk to the young people these days. Ask them questions. They don't know about the history of the world because they're not being taught that. Many young kids in schools these days aren't even being taught about 9/11. So if you ask them what it is, they don't know. They're only told the story. the story. All the world's a stage and we are merely players. There's false flags, there's drills that take place. Now, why am I showing you and going over all of this? What's my point? The point is this. Let's move on. I'm not going to play this video. I'm going to leave it for you. The point is that there were drills held last week at the school in Oregon where the shooting took place. Okay? Drills took place at the school. Now there's a shooting. Now let's ask, have we ever heard this before? Has there ever been a drill and then the drill became a live event? Maybe that same day or other times? Absolutely. It happens all the time. Remember Sandy Hook? Sandy Hook was a huge drill. And yet people around this country actually believe that all of those children died, when chances are no one was killed. It was a drill that was filmed, shown to the public as a real event that didn't occur. Go and research the story. Find out. You'll find a lot of missing pieces in there. You'll find a lot of anomalies that make no sense. When you look at this story here, and you listen to what Anthony has to tell you here, he's going to show you clips where they are actually talking about the drill that they did a week ago. So now we have something suspicious here, okay? So I said drills happen and drills become live. Well, we have an event there, and there was a drill. Is it connected? Perhaps. Let's see if there's anything else that connects in here. This guy here, you recognize him? Not too long ago, he was the train hero, Alek Skarlatos, who was on the train and helped prevent an attack. Well, he's now on Dancing with the Stars, and strangely enough, apparently he goes to the school where the shooting took place in Oregon. Terror train hero Alek Skarlatos was rehearsing for Dancing with the Stars when he got a gut-wrenching news. His college was under attack from the shooter who killed 10 people on Thursday. Sources at Dancing with the Stars tell us Skarlatos was in the middle of rehearsals with Lindsay Arnold when she got a phone call about a tragic shooting at Umpqua College. In addition to the 10 fatalities, police say the shooter injured at least 7 others. We're told Alex immediately left the studio when he got the news and was making calls back home to make sure his friends were safe. Skarlatos, who's an Army National Guardsman in Oregon, is studying at Umpqua Community College for a career in law enforcement. Okay, so what does this mean? I don't know, but what are the chances, let's think of this, what are the chances that the same guy who we heard of as being involved with stopping this terror attack, what are the chances that that person, out of the millions of people in America, what are the chances that that one person happens also to go to the school where there's a shooting that took place, and prior to the shooting there was a drill at that school? Does any of this connect? It might not be anything, might just be weird coincidences. But we need to look to understand people might be played here. We might be getting played by another false flag. Now, what was it that was discussed after this event took place? Obama simply talked about gun control. Gun control. Need to take the guns away from the people. He stood up there and gave this whole speech. At a certain point in time, he just stopped talking about the shooting and just got into gun control. As if the bad guys are going to comply with the gun control laws. That seems to be the part that is missed, and I know he tries to address it, saying, oh, it's ridiculous that that's going to happen, but do we really believe that bad guys are going to line up and turn in their guns? Who really believes that? I don't believe that. So why would we, as American citizens, believe the media when they try to pump out the gun control legislature? Why would we believe that we are going to be safe, that all people are going to turn guns in? It's ludicrous to think that. The bad guys aren't going to do it. That's why they're bad guys. They do bad things in order to hurt people or get their way because they're bullies. So we need to disregard what we are being told, because unfortunately at this point in time, the bad guys are in the White House. The bad guys are the ones telling us they want to take our guns away from us because we are too irresponsible to deal with them and handle them. Even though the ones using the guns are the bad guys. We want to make sure the good guys don't have a way to protect themselves, is what they're basically saying. Silly, silly, silly. Silly humans, silly humans. Now, a little bit more connecting the dots. This information here might not necessarily connect to all the other, but it connects to the whole big brother thing that's going on here. Here we have Merkel confronts Facebook, Zuckerberg over policing hate posts. And you got a little video here. You get these two reporters talking about Bloomberg. And basically what happened is, it says German Chancellor Angela Merkel confronted Facebook Incorporated Chief Executive Officer Mark Zuckerberg on how the company is progressing in efforts to curtail racist posts after her government complained the social network wasn't doing enough to crack down on recent xenophobic outbursts. Attending a luncheon on the sidelines of the United Nations Development Summit in New York on Saturday, Merkel and Zuckerberg were overheard on a live transmission broadcast on the UN website as participants took their seats. After Merkel briefly queried Zuckerberg about the hate post affair, the Facebook CEO is heard responding that we need to do some work on the issue. Are you working on this? Merkel asked in English. Yeah, Zuckerberg responded before the dialogue was cut off by introductory remarks to those present. Okay, so is this the first time that we've heard Mark Zuckerberg is involved with some controversial remarks? No. Have we heard that he's been involved with controversial remarks before? Yes. Do we have any controversy around the Facebook creation itself? Yes. We think that Mark Zuckerberg created this, but we understand now that the money that came into Facebook was from the CIA. The other money came in from CIA. We understand the connection to the alphabet agencies. So did this just come about after it was created, or was the creation itself all part of the process of the intelligence agencies developing this? Don't really know the answer to that, but I could see, as many others can, that there is definitely a connection. And this hot mic recording here is not the first time that somebody has been caught giving away information in public that they didn't know they were doing. So he proves himself to be exactly who he is. He's, New World Order guy. And Facebook, as we know, is involved with censorship. Anybody who's on Facebook knows that. It's no secret. So just another piece of the puzzle, just another dot. Where it fits, don't know. Just something to consider. Now, you know how we humans down here like to always be rating something, give it a big rating, a big score, and all these things that we go through, superficial nonsense. Well, here's something that might be of a concern. We should be worried about Peeple, P-E-E-P-L-E. It's an app that lets you review other humans. Okay, so basically what you've got here, and this is a whole Twitter feed of people making their comments. Basically what you have is an app that is going to allow you to rate other people in the same way that you might rate food at a restaurant or anything else in this world. So now we've got an app that's going to rate people. Maybe kind of like, I don't know, some of the other social networks like Facebook. Remember when we first saw in the movie Social Networks and they were using the device to rate the different women? Maybe it's something of that nature, but on a grander scale, and it's not just limited to women. Maybe it's everybody's going to be rated. What are all the different qualifications and categories? I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see. And we'll just keep an eye on this and certainly know that it's one of the crazy things in life that we start rating each other. Rating who we're about, what we're about. So, I don't know. Weird. Sometimes I don't really have much to say, even though I like to talk a lot. So those are the points to consider, okay? All the things I just showed you are very important points to consider. If we do not get smarter, we're going to get manipulated more than we already are. It's very easy to tell from anyone who's paying attention that the powers that be are working to control every aspect of life. The social networks allow them to really hone in and really, like sheepdog, really corral people together. It's very easy to do. And now with all of these other devices out there, who knows what's going to happen. But Big Brother is everywhere, and if we don't take account of ourselves by at least being aware of what they're trying to do, then we're simply just going to be lost in life and think all of these things are real. And remember, we have to move through life being smart. We have to know that there's going to be wars. There's going to be rumors of wars. There's going to be a lot of lying and deception. It's all part of the times that we're in. But it doesn't mean that we have to get caught up in all of that. Remember the principles of the Kybalion? They remind us that we have the opportunity to step out of the way of things. Because by understanding that we live in a mental world, we understand the field of play that we're in. By understanding that every aspect of this mental realm that we are in corresponds with every other aspect, we understand how the smallest part of ourselves can communicate with the largest. We understand that everything vibrates and moves back and forth between poles, and that this rhythm is the dance of life that we do. And by engaging ourselves in this dance of life, we can move in accordance with the way things are moving. So when something is moving that is going to, not be for our best efforts, we step back so it doesn't affect us, and we move in accordingly. So we move back and forth with life, and therefore what is caused and effect moves to our benefit because we are moving with life, and everything is in balance, the masculine, the feminine aspects of ourselves, and we're all in good communication. Okay, I bring this up because it's a continual reminder that we have the ability each and every day to move our lives in a positive direction. When we wake up in the morning, the choices are all ours each and every moment. We have our conscious mind, which makes the choices. We have the unconscious mind, which thinks all kind of things and is filled with all the possibilities of what's there. And between the two of them, we come up with decisions that we're going to do through the course of the day. The more we understand how energy operates, the more we can move in accord with it. If we understand that we can move with the rhythm of life and step out of problems by going one way and then moving the other way to move with the positive things, our life becomes better. And we see examples of this all the time, people who are understanding the different ways. Life is just a dance. It's a dance, it's a play, it's something for us to really experience. And if we look at life as observers, we see things differently than if we just throw ourselves into it. Like being at a movie theater. We're in the theater, we're watching, we're not in the movie, but we're fully engaged in the story. Okay? All right, let's switch gears here. This is quotes from John Lennon. Top 50 John Lennon quotes. Over in 5D. 50 inspirational quotes from John Lennon, one of the rare people who was more influenced by peace and harmony than living an affluent life. His words are not only deep but inspiring. While he did not lead a very long life, his words remain immortal. So some of his things. Love is the greatest refreshment in life. Part of me suspects that I'm a loser. The other part of me thinks I'm God Almighty. My role in society, or any artist's or poet's role, is to try to express what we all feel, not to tell people how to feel, not as a preacher, not as a leader, but as a reflection of us all. That's what the great masters and mistresses have been saying ever since time began. They can point the way, leave signposts and little instructions in various books that are now called holy and worshipped for the cover of the book and not for what it says. But the instructions are all there for all to see, have always been, always will be. Everybody loves you when you're 6 feet in the ground. There's an alternative to war. I'm staying in bed and growing your hair. It's staying in bed and growing your hair. My defenses were so great. The cocky rock in the role hero who knows all the answers was actually a terrified guy who didn't know how to cry. Simple. Well, I don't want to be king. I want to be real. Life is short and there's no time for fussing and fighting, my friends. Okay, let's scroll down here. Let's look at some of his top ones here, the top 5. Being honest may not get you a lot of friends, but it'll always get you the right ones. If you want peace, you won't get it with violence. All we are saying is give peace a chance. It matters not who you love, where you love, why you love, or when you love, or how you love. It only matters that you love. And last, love, love, love. All you need is love. Love is all you need. Okay? Excellent quotes from John Lennon. All you need is love, That's the whole secret. We go through this life and sometimes we make it so complicated, don't we? But when it all boils down to it, simple thing like love really just makes things turn in ways that are pretty amazing. All right, here's a message for today. It comes to us from SaLuSa. SaLuSa.
SaLuSa.
October 2nd, 2015, by Mike Quincy.
SaLuSa.
You have just passed the 28th of September, a significant date because a number of events were either coming to a conclusion, or reaching a peak. It did not impact itself upon you but in general terms has, as you say, raised the bar, but as time passes many of you will begin to notice significant changes. Clearly the higher vibrating energies cannot help but bring changes about. Although your press is controlled and you do not get to read all of the important news, you will nevertheless note that the awakening of humanity is spreading. You now question what is taking place on Earth rather than automatically accepting what is placed before you. You are beginning to awaken to the truth of your existence, and see beyond the lies that are often presented to you as the truth. There are great souls on Earth working for the light, and they are coming forward to give you truthful accounts of your past and what the future holds. We will never tire of telling you that you are great beings of light who are about to enjoy the awakening. Some of you will be shocked and find it hard to believe how you have been duped for so long. However, the advice from us is to quickly move on and spend your precious time promoting positive changes. The dark ones have sealed their own fate and will have much to learn if they are to return to the light. Certainly every encouragement will be given to them, as no soul is considered to be beyond salvation. Beings of light from our dimensions draw closer to you, ready to play their part in bringing the truth to you. You have been browbeaten for so long you have doubted your value to the light. We can assure you that you are held in great esteem and applaud you for your achievement in bringing the light back to Earth. You are now emerging from the darkness and into the light, and many souls are waiting to greet you and help you past the final obstacles. We know you are eager to lift up, but there are still matters to be dealt with for which you are all needed. You would not be here on such an occasion unless you had something to contribute, no matter how small it may be. You are a wonderful team selected because of your proven abilities. So do not be concerned if you find it difficult to know how you fit in, your time may be yet to come. The old regime is on its last legs, so dramatic things will happen and be unavoidable. All you need remember is that we are waiting to meet you, and we will ensure that it arrives as soon as possible and with the least fuss. The dark days are almost a thing of past, but whilst you have to walk alongside the dark ones you can never be sure of what may happen, as they may lash out in fury having lost the battle for your souls. They will need a lot of love and light, if they are to rise up and out of the darkness they have created. Pushing them back down helps no one, and only the light can awaken them to the truth. Remember the saying that, but for the grace of God there go I, as at present you have little idea if any of your past lives. All of you have experienced both sides over millennia of time as part of your evolution, and have evolved remarkably quickly. It is worth reminding you that many souls who are discarnate who have links with you follow your progress, and wait for you to return to the higher dimensions where they can meet you again. Although many of you meet them during your sleep period, few of you bring back waking memories with you. So you have much to look forward to once you rise up. There will be celebrations galore and many a tear shed in joy at such reunions. Some souls have come from even higher realms, and certainly one as great as Saint Germain who has led humanity through many periods of history. He has obviously been known by several names that are familiar to you. Even now he is leading the awakening and is helped by other souls that share his love for humankind. There is so much happening that is going to bring the awakening about, that you would be hard put to keep up with it. Matters are speeding up and each day now brings the promise of more exciting news. Changes are taking place and all will ultimately be for your advantage. The new age is arriving quickly and we have many exciting projects to make you aware of, when the time is right. Because we have these in hand and ready to go ahead, the new technologies can be introduced very quickly and put into action. You have things to catch up on that have been denied you that in the normal circumstances would already have been in use. There will come a time when you will look back and wonder how you coped without the new technologies. They will make life so easy and enable you to have all the free time you need to follow your own desires. You have not really experienced true freedom, but that time is getting nearer and will come to be. Ascension is such an important event that it has aroused much interest in the universe. Consequently, it has also brought the shelves into action and they have placed themselves in such a position that they have completely surrounded the Earth. Their purpose is to keep the solar system free from any outside interference, and thus ensure that the end times proceed unhindered. We hope you are beginning to appreciate that you are in an extremely important time, and much depends on the successful completion of your ascension. You are the last ones to do so, thus releasing other civilizations to carry on following their own paths. When you get to learn the truth of your experiences in the lower dimension, you will become elated and full of joy and eager to make up for lost time. There are so many opportunities that will open up for you, and as an ascended being will be free to follow your chosen path. You have come from a number of planets for the unique experiences that the Earth can give you. There will be times when they will serve you well, when you will meet beings from other planets who have heard about the Earth ascending. We in our ships have followed your exploits for hundreds of years, and that has been possible because our lifespan runs into a few thousand years. Because the Earth has a low vibration, you can only have short lifespans, but each one is normally packed with opportunities to evolve. Thank Mother Earth for her willingness to offer herself to the human race, knowing that they have little understanding of the importance of treating her with respect. I am SaLuSa from Sirius, and I sometimes look back at your progress in this century, and congratulate you for the way you have kept to your path, and managed to bring in important changes. The light has grown in spite of the obstructive actions of the dark ones, and their disregard of people's needs. You have proved your loyalty to the light and the souls that tread the path through duality. Your time has all but arrived to be released from your responsibilities, and we say very well done. You have traveled far in your different incarnations, but now it is nearly time to return home. Many await that time and send their love to you all.
Thank you, SaLuSa.
All right, very nice message. I thought the part about the loyalty was very appropriate because we are coming out of this wave spell, the last part of the dog, which is about loyalty. So a lot of synchronicities in life. If we just look for synchronicities, we see them everywhere. Okay? And they help guide us along the way. And all we have to do is pay attention. It's like seeing the false flags that go on. If we pay attention, if we know that the media is telling us a story, then we look at it as just a story. Whenever these events take place, there is always the same pattern over and over and over again. And you can always tell them. So once you know the story, then you just know how to move accordingly. Okay? It's real simple. Nothing's difficult. It's all simple. They just want it to be difficult. Okay? We have to keep our minds cleared. Here's page 120 of the Warrior of the Light. A warrior of the light has no certainties. He just has a path to follow, a path which he tries to adapt depending on the season. During battles that take place in summer, he does not use the same equipment and techniques that he would use during battles that take place in winter. By being flexible, he no longer judges the world on the basis of right or wrong, but on the basis of the most important attitude for the particular moment. He knows that his companions also have to adapt and is not surprised when they change their attitude. He gives each one the necessary time to justify his actions. When it comes to treachery, he is implacable. Pretty good. I like that one. I like this phrase here, by being flexible. He no longer judges the world on the basis of right and wrong, but on the basis of the most particular attitude for the particular moment. And that seems to be very appropriate. If we stop being judgmental, what's the best way to act in this particular moment? That gets us through. All right? Meditation time. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and exhale. Take another deep breath, and exhale again. And another breath, and exhale. Now let's just keep breathing slowly, feeling the breath going through the body, through each and every cell, bringing life, bringing information, bringing love as it moves on from cell to cell. And feel this wave of energy moving through your body. Feel the way that your body responds to this energy, absorbing it, being inspired by it. Imagine all of your chakras are activated from the bottom of the spine. Red, the root chakra. Above that at the belly button, orange. Just below the rib cage, yellow. Right in the middle of the heart, green. At the throat, blue. The third eye, indigo. The crown chakra, violet. And then continuing on as white light into the cosmos. Feel your connection to all that is above and all that is below. Feel this breath of life on all the various levels of energy within you, and notice that in the same way you feel the breath when you inhale, as you open up the chakras, the breath is inhaled through the chakras in a different manner. Yet the same energy moves in throughout and back. Let's just imagine the word love. And let's imagine clarity that comes from eyes open with love. Let's imagine as we allow the love to move through our body, we find that this love is so powerful that all of our desires are to merge with this universal love by loving ourselves, loving others, loving the things that we do, the places we've come from. And as we continue to explore the ideas of love, we see that it is just so expansive, it continues on and on and on. So let us continue this journey by allowing our subconscious mind to seek out love and spread love. And let the subconscious mind move forward in that process, continuing. And let's bring our conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3 coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2 coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1 coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That is our show for today. It's the show for the whole week. So thank you very much for being here. We had some really good information this week that is available. All you have to do is follow the links, firstcontactradio.com. Check out the rest of the videos in their entirety. We listen to bits and pieces of them. Just remember, this is all a big play, a stage. All the world's a stage, and everyone's playing a part. Some are aware of the part they're playing, others not so much. But we're all here, we're all playing a part, and if we become aware of that, we understand where we fit into the big picture. If we're not supposed to come into the play until the 3rd act, and we jump out there at the 2nd act, it doesn't work so good. So we need to be aware of where we're at, and the more we're aware, the more effective. And the way we get to be aware is we go inside. We meditate, we connect, and we understand the plan that's going on. Because the plan includes us, but it's also bigger than us. And that's what we find out when we go inside. So that's it. I'm going to quit my rambling for today and move on into the weekend. Have a great time. Enjoy the change. Remember, going from Gemini to Cancer in the moon sign, so we're going to have some emotions over this weekend. Deal with them all accordingly. That is it for the week. Thank you very much for being here. I love you. Keep loving each other, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.